One of the questions we've been fielding a lot lately is a question about how do we get our students to collaborate more inside of a tool like WebEx Teams when we have large groups meeting together? Is there a way that we can get them to spin off into smaller conversations, similar to something like a breakout room that you might find in a tool like Zoom? And while WebEx Teams doesn't have a direct breakout room feature, we do have a concept that we might be able to use to really achieve that same effect and get some other benefits as well. So let me show you how I would set up a learning structure for my class so that we could have this breakout Teams feel moving forward. I'm going to start by building a team. Now, when we first started with WebEx Teams, we may have recommended for you to use a space, and that's certainly okay as well. But for the topic that we're going to explore today, I'd encourage using a team just because of the structure that's available here. So here we go. I am going to click on my Teams icon here. I'm within the WebEx Teams app on my Mac. And then I'm going to click the plus button to create a team. So we're going to call this one Breakout Room Sample. Pretty original. Now I'm going to add some people to my breakout room sample. You're going to need to add your students into this team in order for them to work inside of it. The benefit of this is once we create the team and we enroll the students to the entire team, they'll be able to work within our different rooms. And I click Create. So automatically, when I create my team, I have a general space. General is going to be our standard meeting space where we come together and meet as a group, where we have our group conversations. Now what I'm going to do is create some spin-off areas where I can direct students later. So you could do this any number of ways, but I'm going to do it this way. You could call them Breakout Room 1 and Breakout Room 2. I'll keep it that way, but you might want to get more creative than that. You might want to use something like Cheetah Room, Lion Room, Panther Room. The other fun thing that you can do within this is you can actually change the icons for the different breakout rooms under our space settings. So we could change this with different pictures just to identify the rooms and give them a little bit of character. One more way to make this a little bit more engaging. But for this sample, I'm just going to show you how we work from that. So the next piece of this is, once I've created my space, I use General as my common meeting space. So this is my common meeting space. What I'm going to do with that is say to my students, let's imagine we're meeting at 9:30 tomorrow. I'm going to say to my students, at 9:30 tomorrow, I'm going to have you come into the breakout room sample general space. We'll start the meeting there. So we'll click in here and we'll use our breakout room sample space to run the meeting. When students are in at 9:30, we'll spend a few moments together. Maybe I'll give them some instructions, some things that we're going to do, and then I'm going to delegate them out to the rooms. So I'll say, Carla, Steve, you guys are going to be talking about this topic. I'd like you to go into breakout room 1. Wendy, Kristen, you guys are talking about this topic. I'd like you to go into breakout room 2. And while I can't direct them to it with a specific command that would push them in that place, what I can do is just have them go off and start the call there. So they will leave the call in the general meeting space, and then they'll go into their breakout room space. Because they are team members, they can start the call on their own without you being present there and get started collaborating, talking together in a smaller group setting. So here I am. I'm going to go into my general team space and I am going to start our meeting. So I've got some people who are coming in to join us in this space. So I'm the teacher. I'm working in my general team space here, and I'm just waiting for some of my students to join, just like I would with anything else that's going on inside of WebEx Teams. So I see Wendy's in there. Hi, Wendy. Wendy, we're just demoing how we can use multiple breakout spaces today. So good. I see Carla and Mike in there. Great. Hi, guys. So As a
Okay.
teacher now, what I would do is I would basically start our lesson off this way, talking to them. One of the challenges, of course, is that we ask students to mute microphones and things like that. So now, how do we get them to have a conversation? All right, guys. So what I'm going to have you do is basically we would identify something that you're going to break out and talk about. So Carla and Wendy, I want you to head off into breakout room 1, which will be inside of our space, and I want you guys to talk about topic A. Mike, will you be willing to go to breakout room 2 and then host a meeting there around topic B?
Sure.
Okay, good. So we basically give them the direction here. Now, what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to end this call. You're going to hop over to your breakout rooms within our team here and start the meeting that is in there. And I'll jump in between and just kind of check in on the conversation as we go. And let's meet back here in just 5 minutes. So we'll be back here at 10:49. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll see you guys in a
Uh,
little bit. I'll pop in. Make sure you stay focused.
Okay. It'll be hard.
All right. So you get the general idea of what's going on there. Now, when I have all of my students out working into our different breakout rooms, then my job as a teacher becomes to be the facilitator, to be the one listening in to the different conversations, to maybe prompt them with some new ideas. And this is where I really like this idea. I can go into breakout room 1. If there's a call going on inside of breakout room 1, I can join that call, listen in, add some thoughts, leave the call, but because the students have equal footing with me as a teacher in this breakout room space, the call doesn't end, which is great. I can then jump into breakout room 2, breakout room 3. So you're simply leaving one call and joining another. The students are doing the same things, but you really have the ability to jump between the different calls very quickly and listen in, the same way you would in a physical space if you were moving around your room. You take a few steps, you move forward. It just happens to be you're joining a call and ending a call. Now, before you leave that general breakout space, you may want to say something like, we're going to meet at 9:30. We're going to talk from 9:30 to 9:40. And then at 9:40, I'm going to send you to your breakout rooms. By 10 o'clock, we're all going to meet back in the general space because I want to have a conversation about what you learned, what were your key takeaways. Everybody will need something to share. And again, we can use some of our great teaching practices like identifying one person who's going to be our reporter, and that becomes far more important in this environment where one person in each group is kind of reporting out on the conversation or asking questions or whatever it might be that they need to do. That'll be more important because you won't have been listening to the whole conversation along the way. But this idea that we can jump in between different calls within the same space makes it a lot easier for our students to be able to find the links, move in and out of those. My breakout room sample. And what you'll see as the teacher here is I should see Wendy and Carla hop into breakout room 1 and start a call there. And Mike is going to start a call in breakout room 2. So I, as the teacher, have the ability to just jump in between these and see how things are going, kind of moving forward. So you can see that breakout room is actively meeting now. Okay. And then breakout room 2 is going to be meeting as well. So they'll each start their different calls as we move forward here. So I can see breakout room is going. And then you can see right there, Mike has started in breakout room 2. All right, so I'm going to check in on breakout room 1. Again, I'm just joining a different meeting here.
Have the meeting.
All right, good. So I can, as the teacher, just hop in and listen. I don't have to necessarily engage, but you get the general idea here of where you can check in, prompt them, see how things are moving forward. So, Carla, things are going well in this breakout room?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're getting a lot of talking done. Not really, but
Thanks for
we're
playing
full of
along.
ideas.
That's right, full of ideas. All right, Carla, I'm going to go over and check in on breakout room 2, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yep, see you in a little bit. Make sure to join me in just a minute over in the general room. You can go ahead and get started if you're the first one in there.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
thanks. Yep,
Okay. Bye.
bye. All right, and I'm going to jump into breakout room 2. So I have very willing participants who are willing to play along. Micah, is everything going well in your breakout room here?
So far, so good.
Deep ideas. Okay. Hey, we are coming on the 5-minute mark here. So can you join us in the general room, wrap up your conversation here, and then I think Carla might have started already, but join us in there when you get a second.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Thanks. All right. So you can see I'm jumping between my different calls here inside of my breakout room. Okay. I'm just going to jump in the general. You can see Carla and Wendy are in there. Mike's group is still finishing up, but I'm just going to join in once I see Mike popped in there. Good. And so we're joining this third meeting here. And again, we're just back in the general room here. Okay, so this is how we would wrap up the lesson. We might ask for some share-outs. This is where I was saying maybe to have each group have a recorder or somebody who reports out to just share the general ideas that came across, but to have an engaging conversation around the topics that you talked about in your breakout rooms. You guys did all right in your breakout rooms?
Yeah. And I mentioned before I had forgotten to disconnect from the general call, so when I went into the breakout room, I couldn't join, so I had to come back and disconnect and then go back. But I mean, that's out. So
yeah, this is not as slick of a solution as pushing a button and everybody goes to their breakout rooms, but it absolutely will work in the need of just getting a small group conversation going. So
yeah, this is cool.
All right, so I'll see you at our next breakout meeting, guys. But thanks for playing along today.
Bye.
All right, see you later. So the last idea that I have might be really helpful, and that is simply tidying up the room when you're done with it. So if we were in a physical space, we would turn off the lights and erase the board. We might do something like this. When we come into the room, we might, as a group, say, this is the group that will be discussing World War II financing, so that anybody who comes in the space knows what's going on inside of the call here. Then when we're all done with the call, you might prompt somebody to say, when you're finished, your logistics person, come up with something more creative than that, is also going to indicate to anybody else that the conversation is done. So simply something like this. The conversation on World War II financing is finished. And then a keyword like this, done. So when I come into the space, I know that I'm not interrupting, because we're going to have super flexible conversations moving forward. You're going to have flexible groups. You don't know who's going to show up on any given day. So you can't write Kristen and Wendy's space because they may not both be there that day. So you really want to just build yourself an infrastructure, although digitally, where you can send them off into different rooms based on whoever's in front of you. You could each day go in there and rename these breakout rooms if you wanted to based on the topic. So you could say, I want you to go into the financing room. I want you to go into the logistics room. I want you to go into the combatants room, whatever it might be if you're talking about World War II for that day. So you can be creative in doing some of those things that way as well. But I would have a policy for tidying up and indicating to whoever comes into the room next that the previous conversation has ended. You can take that role on yourself, but depending on the age of your students, they might be able to handle that as well. My breakout rooms are done for the day. So I'm going to use my keyword just so that I clean up and tidy up the room so that I know that breakout room 1 and 2 is ready for the next group who comes in. The last little bit is this. Students no longer need you to come in here and schedule for them. If they want to meet in breakout room 1, they simply need to come in here and indicate to whomever's coming in that this is what we're talking about, and then they can clean it up with done afterwards. So you can encourage random conversations in here at any point that might be focused on the topic that you want your kids to collaborate around. And you have insight or overview into what's going on inside of those spaces. You can join them. You can see what's going on as you move forward. So that is some ways that you can use with a live demo with unexpected participants on how it might work for you to build breakout rooms in a team structure.